You are listening to the Motherhood Unstressed podcast, and I'm your host, Liz Carlisle. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am so glad that you're here, as always, and I'm just grateful to be sharing this space and time with you. And if you didn't already glean that from the show description, that's what today's conversation is going to be all about. Establishing a gratitude practice, a practice where you notice the little things in your life that bring you joy so that you can then expand that and notice more and more and more. And that's really what's behind the work of my guest today. Her name is Jennifer Garman. She is a podcaster and author. Her new book, Flourish, talks about her own journey of ill health to good health and why gratitude was at the core of her success in that. So I think this is stuff that we already know. You know, we're smart women. We already know that we should have a gratitude practice, but I feel like sometimes you need to be reminded. You need to be inspired again so that you can get up each and every day or right before you go to bed and recall some things that you are grateful for. Because I know from my own life, doing that has been the key to greater happiness, a greater sense of groundedness and calm. And, you know, makes me a better mom. It makes me a better wife, a better friend. So I think it's just so important, and I'll never get tired of talking about it. So I hope you enjoy this episode. If you do, please share it with a friend. Thank you so much for all the reviews. If you haven't left one yet, please do. And if you wait till the very end of the episode, there is a special message, a special treat, but you'll have to get to the end to hear what it is. So without further ado, please enjoy this conversation with Jennifer Garman. Hey guys, before we dive into this episode, I want to mention show sponsor Public Goods. It's a company that I use, that I love, and just the other day I was making the muesli that I get from them. And I was a little hesitant to give it to the entire family because I might have some picky eaters even in this bunch every now and then, especially when it comes to breakfast. But my kids and even my husband were in shock about how good the muesli was. Where did you get this? Where did this come from? And it was from Public Goods. And that's what they're so great about. They have this incredible ethos where they want the best product under one roof, and then everything comes in this beautiful aesthetic. It's really cool. And so I'm obviously a big fan, and we've worked out an exclusive deal just for the Motherhood Unstressed podcast listeners. You can receive $15 off your first Public Goods order with no minimum purchase. You could literally go in and just get $15 when you use the code UNSTRESSED. Just go to publicgoods.com/unstressed or use code UNSTRESSED at checkout. That's publicgoods.com/unstressed to receive $15 off your first order. If you're like me and you adore a calming glass of wine at the end of the day with dinner, then I'm really excited to tell you about this new company that's sponsoring the show called Usual Wines. Now, it's not just because they don't add sugar, which they don't. It's not just because the wine tastes fantastic, which it does. My favorite thing about this company has to be that they package it in these 6.3 ounce individualized bottles per box. What that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that there's no more wasting beautiful bottles of wine because you didn't drink the whole bottle in one sitting. You literally open a bottle, pour it in, and you're good to go. And if you want one, open another one, but you're not putting a cork in a larger bottle of wine and then the next day it doesn't taste as good, because I can't tell you how many times that's happened and how soul-crushing that is, because you want to have, you know, the same taste the next day and it's just not there. So Usual Wines has completely hacked that. I think it's brilliant what they're doing. And the wine, again, is no added sugar. They harvest it at just the right time. A lot of wine companies harvest it too early, so there's all this added sugar involved. They don't do that. And it's straight out of Sonoma County, so you know it's good. So be sure to go check out their website at www.usualwines.com and use my discount code UNSTRESSED for $8 off your first order. Well, hello, Jennifer. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here.
Hi, Liz. Thanks so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So, you know, let's give our audience a little bit of origin story about you. How did you get into this work? How did gratitude specifically such a linchpin in your work?
Yeah, well, it kind of happened mistakenly, I would say. I was sick for a good 7.5 years. And which is the typical case of, just adding too much and not taking anything off my plate. I had 3 young kids at the time. I was overextended. I was not putting myself first ever. And I'm not sure what the straw was that broke the camel's back, but one day I just completely had the rug pulled out from under me and lost my health overnight. And it went from complete and absolute insomnia for several nights to food intolerances and allergies and autoimmune disorders. And, I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and you name it, I was diagnosed with it. But when I'd follow the protocol for healing and getting better, I wouldn't. And it was so frustrating because I'd, visit a specialist and they'd say, I know exactly what's wrong with you. Do this. In 6 months, you're going to be so much better. But I wasn't. And I just followed this perpetual, path down these rabbit holes for over 7 years until I just had enough. And I was done. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is what I've been dealt in life. It's not terminal. I can still function. There's some days where I'm about 70%. And I'm just going to do the very best I can. I decided at the time I was going to get my life coaching certification. I knew I couldn't hold down a full-time job, but at least maybe I could take on a few clients here and there and do some good and help people. So it was during my studies that I came upon the notion of gratitude. I was also learning about neuroplasticity. I was learning about quantum physics and our thoughts, and I was just absolutely enamored. And I was so excited, and I was learning, and I was fascinated. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to try this on myself. I have nothing to lose. I could use, a little boost in my happiness and my mood. So I started practicing on myself as a guinea pig, and I started feeling these surges of energy, and my symptoms started to improve. And I was like, there's no way. This is all going to come back. This is temporary. But I kept it up. And within a month's time, all my symptoms had resolved. I was bounding out of bed in the morning. I didn't need caffeine. I didn't need my medications for sleep. And I was like, sold. So it was at that time where I'm like, I know without a shadow of a doubt, this is what I was meant to do. So I used gratitude as my root emotion to heal. And I knew I needed to pass that power of that on, along with the power of our thoughts, to as many people as I could reach. So I founded gratitudemission.org. I created the Growing Gratitude Tree and took that to market. That was a good part of 2017, 2018. And then I had the chance to write about my story in my book, Flourish, which published in April. So that's kind of the path that I've been on.
And that seems like almost like a rocket ship path. Like once you decided that this is what is healing me, this is what has healed me, then it was like you knew your mission in life, you knew your purpose in life. I mean, it seems like it happened so fast.
It did. And I always knew, I'd had little glimpses throughout my career that like, okay, I know I want to help people. I know I want to be some sort of a healer in capacity. And I just didn't know how. I knew I wasn't going to go to medical school and be a doctor, but I knew that there was some route that I was going to be, a catalyst to helping people. And then when this all fell into place, I'm like, that's it. I know without a doubt that this is what I was meant to do.
Wow, that's amazing. So what were you doing before? Because it seems like a very stark difference than what you were doing. But were you in a different career? What was going on before?
Yeah, so I actually graduated as a computer engineer. And I knew within a few years that was not what I was meant to do. I was not happy or fulfilled in that career at all. So I kind of dabbled into, business development and sales. And I got over into that side of technology, still didn't really feel like it was my path. And I transitioned over into the medical sector. And that's really where I, kind of honed in onto, helping people.
Yeah.
And I was, my last job was in medical devices. I absolutely loved that job. And I unfortunately had to let it go because of, just the overwhelming circumstances in my life. But I knew that I'd honed in on something that was fulfilling for me with helping people.
That's incredible. Yeah. It's like you were there, but it wasn't your full purpose yet. And so you had to find that. And then once you did, what did it feel like when you were like, okay, I'm on this path. This is, I'm doing the Giving Tree. I'm doing the book. Like, did it feel like you were doing exactly what you what you wanted to be doing, what you should be doing? Or did it just, I don't know, like, what did it feel like?
I equate it to feeling effortless and in like engaging and empowering at the same time. Kind of, I don't know if there's anybody that plays golf, but when you hit a golf ball and it's just like effortless, but it goes so far and it's perfect and it's that sweet spot. That's kind of what it felt like. It just felt right, but the effort was not there. Like, I'm not putting and pouring all my energy into it. It was just happening because it was meant to happen.
Yeah. It was almost energy giving, I'd imagine.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Do you feel like most people have gotten away from gratitude? Do you feel like we've lost our path? When you look at a group of people, do you think, well, they practice gratitude, or do you think they probably don't? Where are we now as a society?
Yeah, unfortunately, I feel like people are attuned to saying thank you for things without really feeling it, like going through the motions, so to speak. It just seems like such a polarized world right now with politics and thoughts, and people don't want to see things from other people's perspectives. And that is a big part of gratitude is just realizing we're all different and we all have things that we're going to bring to the table and being appreciative for all the differences. Um, you know, and I do think that there is a big gap and a lot of learning curve that could take place with the practice of gratitude.
Okay, well, talk to us then. What do you do? What are your secrets to having a thriving gratitude practice? What do you do in your day to day? Help us.
Yeah. So you want me to talk about what I do personally or what I do to help
Yeah,
others?
because then I
Okay.
think like the listener could be like, okay, I could do that. That's manageable.
Yeah. Well, I can kind of give it to you in tiers because I know a lot of people are like, I have no extra time in my day. And I get it. I have 3 kids. I have a busy life and I was there. And this does not have to be a time consuming practice. It can be as simple as getting out of bed in the morning, putting one foot down, saying thank, another foot down, saying you have a whole day in front of you, infinite possibilities. Take that into the shower with you, into getting ready for the day, and just try and feel grateful for all that you have in your life right when you get up. Another great time to do it is right when you go to sleep. You're transitioning from the conscious to the subconscious. And when you concentrate on something during that time, it tends to get ingrained quicker. So right before you go to bed, just some people are visual, jot some things down you're grateful for on the side of your bed and make it a habit. Really turn it into something that you embrace each day and bring it into your kids' lives if you can. It's a
Mm.
great practice to do at the dinner table. It really can be incorporated with other parts of your day pretty easily.
No, I love that. And honestly, like the time before bed, I think is so crucial because I'm guilty of this too. Like I'm on Twitter, I'm on my phone, I'm like downloading all of this political strife and all of this bad stuff right before you head into that subconscious space. So I'd imagine like we talked about earlier, the neuroplasticity, like that's connecting new pathways that are not so positive, not so gratitude filled.
Yes, unfortunately, we do carry that into our subconscious at night when we focus on that right before bed.
Yeah, yeah, that can't be good for anybody. So I love that you did that as part of your routine. I think the listener can absolutely say, thank you on their way to the bathroom in the morning. How do you bring in that emotion though? Because you said, we say thank you, we do these things, but we don't actually feel it. How do you bring in the emotion so you're actually feeling gratitude?
Yeah, and that's a great point that you bring up. It's that emotion, and that's what ties the memories and the bonds so tightly in our head. And when you can bring that in, I love to say, think of a time in your life where you were so happy and you were so grateful for that time. And if you can just sit and immerse yourself into that, think of what you smelled, think of the visuals that you saw, try and feel it to the point where you get goosebumps. You're so in that emotion. And that's when you can then take that and project it into the future for what you want for your day, what you want for your life. And this doesn't have to be a long practice. You can get really good at it really quick. And it's a meditation, so to speak. So
Yeah.
you bring up this great memory, you feel it to the extent that you can absolutely feel it. And then you project that feeling into the future and what you want to see either for the day or for the near future.
Yeah. And you talked about, bringing your kids into that. I absolutely love that. I think that changes them as people, to have that more positive outlook, that grateful outlook. Do you do this with your kids now, even though they're older? Or like, what did you do when they were young?
Yeah, we do this every single night. We go through things that we're grateful for the day, and this is right before we go to sleep at night. It's kind of my routine with them every night is that we go through all the things in our prayer that we're grateful for, and they drift off. They're happier.
Mm-hmm.
They have better perspective in life. When things happen that they don't want to happen, it doesn't just bowl over them. They take it in stride, and I believe they feel like, okay, I've got all this good. I'm not going to let this get to me.
Yeah. And how old are your kids?
I've got 13-year-old twins and a 10-year-old.
Yeah. So I feel like that's such a crucial age, like right during that middle school time, like elementary, when you're getting into those really hard years where everything seems like it's going to bowl you over and everything seems so dramatic, like to have that elevated perspective, that space, you really give yourself that space. I think that's such a gift.
Yeah, and it's hard for kids, especially in this society where everybody wins, everybody gets the trophy, everything is good all the time. And
Right.
we kind of, the lawnmower parent, or we kind of just clear the path for them and they don't experience any bad. That's not possible. They're going to experience bad. We need to teach them and give them the tools that they can use to handle adversity when it does come. And that's the very best thing we can do as parents for our kids.
I love that lawnmower parent. I never heard of that before. That's so true. It's like, I got you. It's okay. Don't get your feelings hurt. But then you take into the other thing, like social media and the pressures that they feel. I don't know if your children have phones yet, but it's like, that's a whole nother world. And that can be like a mental burden that we haven't, we didn't grow up with. We never felt viscerally, but I could imagine having a gratitude practice, having some kind of space, like we said before, would be almost life-saving in a lot of cases.
Yeah, and social media is a slippery slope, especially, for kids that age. I don't let my kids on it for various reasons. I think that the comparison and the 24/7 and the bullying, I just don't think it's good for their growing brains. But they're very upset with me for that.
Yeah.
But hopefully one day they'll understand. It's just so difficult to, when you're growing and you're, prefrontal cortex isn't developed yet, and you're just not making the connection, the disconnection that you should be with things like that. It's just very, very difficult.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's only going to intensify, the more interconnected that we all get. So I'm with you. Like I don't want my kids to have a phone for a very long time. I just don't see the point. Like not yet.
Yes, it's very tough. It's because they're giving them younger and younger. And in my daughter's elementary school, there's first graders and kindergartners that are given phones. And I'm just shaking my head going, why?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So getting back to you and your story, what do you want? What do you envision your legacy to be with the work that you're doing now?
My hope is that I can reach as many people as possible to share the positive power of our thoughts and our energy. And when we focus on something that's elevated frequency like gratitude, which happens to be the highest frequency, we can really change our whole lives by changing our perspective. And that's really what I want to share. And what I want to get people to walk away with is this doesn't have to be, a 3-hour time consuming process in your life. It's just a quick little thing, morning and night for a few minutes. And it's really transformational. And if you practice it and then you instill it in your family and your kids, it's just amazing what you're teaching to them.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. Going back, it's such a gift. Like you change their life and you change everyone that they interact with, on a daily basis. Ugh, so good. Well, I do have some rapid fire questions for you if you're ready.
Okay, go for it.
And these are always around gratitude. So this is actually really great. It's perfect. Okay. Gratitude is
a miracle.
Yeah. I'm grateful for.
I'm grateful for, I could talk on this for like 15 minutes, but I'm just truly grateful for my family and just the circumstances that we've overcome.
And last one, what's something that you've learned in life that you wish someone would have told you earlier on?
Oh my goodness. I wish people would have told me earlier on to not take things so seriously and to let me know earlier on that I had literally no control over everything when I thought that I did. It was just letting that notion go of, you really don't have control over anything. And it's so freeing and empowering. And then bringing gratitude into that for all that you do have.
I love that. And it seems like you have a really strong faith as well.
Absolutely. That's a cornerstone of my life.
Yeah. Do you feel like gratitude and love and faith is all kind of the same thing, or are they separate things?
I think they're all tied together. I am a very spiritual Christian person, and I believe that, all the answers have been in the Bible. We just need to go find them. When I started doing this work and I started digging in, I'm like, oh my gosh, this was all there. It was all there for us to see. And we just need to open our eyes to it and hear the message. But yes, truly, just like if you come from a place of love and of gratefulness, there's really nothing that can go wrong. Circumstances can happen, adversities can happen, but when you're coming into relationships and to people with that genuine feeling of love and gratefulness, it is truly the connection bond generator. Your relationships can just thrive and flourish when you come to them from that perspective.
Oh, I love that. That's so beautifully said. And you're right. I feel that truth coming through. Okay, so where can our listener find you online, find the book?
Yeah, so the Growing Gratitude Tree is available on my website, which is gratitudemission.org. And you can reach me at Jennifer Garman, 2 A's in Garman.xyz. And my book is on Amazon, or you can get it on my website as well.
Beautiful. And of course, all of that will be in the show notes if you are out and don't have a pen nearby. Jennifer, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your light, your truth, your vulnerable story. I know, I'm going to start doing more of my gratitude practice, bringing it back, making it a habit, putting my phone away at night. So thank you for all the tips and all the reminders and just your story.
Thanks so much, Liz, for having me. It's been great to be here.
You have been listening to the Motherhood Unstressed podcast, and I'm your host, Liz Carlisle. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so glad that we spent this time together, and I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you got a lot out of it. If you did, please share it with at least one friend or leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That does so much for the show. Till next time. This show is brought to you by Motherhood Unstressed CBD. This is my company of organic USA-grown hemp that was specifically designed to help you, the listener, battle stress and anxiety naturally. I love CBD. I've been taking it for years now, but I remember I was a little hesitant to take it at first. I didn't really know what it was. I thought maybe it would make me high. Of course, that didn't happen. And the transformation that I felt from taking CBD was just incredible. So much so that I decided to create my own company and leave my full-time job. And I have been running it ever since, and it's been such an incredible experience. And I'm just really thrilled to be able to bring it to people out there, get it into the hands of mothers who need it the most. They're getting the best quality at the best price. And that's always been at the forefront of this company. So if you've made it this far into the episode, I want to give you a special treat. If you use the code podcast, you will save 10% on any order. And if you email me and say that you listened to this particular ad, I will send you an extra special gift in the package. And you can email me at hello@motherhoodunstressed.com.